Today I'm travelling Matt, a poet rowing from London to Salisbury. What has this pub got to do with the Doomsday Book, 1085? Also, what has this church got to do with a bishop murdered on sacred ground? And finally, what has this cathedral got to do with the shortest monarch's dead sister? Stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Enjoy. Travelling out where we build memories together. So today I'm in the old market town of Salisbury. I'll see you after the intro. So I decided to go and visit one of the places I've always wanted to visit and film, and that was Salisbury. Now Salisbury for me is being one of the places that was on my list but I never got around to quite visit and film. It's always been on a way somewhere, so places like Stonehenge, Glastonbury and Winchester, I just didn't have the time to get to Salisbury, so I made a special effort and went today. Let me tell you, I was not disappointed. Bear in mind as I go on, remember it's bank holiday weekend and it's a Sunday, so in the Christian faith all the shops are closed and it's the day that Jesus rose from the dead. So in this town it's very religious. So as you can see, that's a clock tower. It's such a beautiful monument. And as I go over the bridge, I realized it was just amazing. You see a Witherspoons and a Green King opposite each other. So you're about to see the King's Head Inn. And it's not just a place of famous people eating up myself, having a few drinks and something to eat. You can see the cathedral in the background there. But the King's Head Inn was built in 1520. But one of the famous things about the King's Head Inn was in 1623, John Taylor, the water poet, demonstrated he could navigate his rowing boat from London and reaching the Featherton Bridge, which you see now, and this is where he lodged at the King's Head Inn. The premises was licensed by J.D. Witherspoons in July 2002, which we all know it today. But the building before was a townhouse for the last decade. So in the 20th century, it was called the Country Hotel for around 100 years. And if you get a chance, go in and have a drink and something to eat. The price is right. This is the Green King pub. It's actually called the Bishop's Mill and was built in the 18th century on a site that was owned by the Bishop of Sarum. So in fact, this pub is actually mentioned in the Doomsday Book. Now, we're going back a few years now. We're looking at 1085, without a doubt. And it is a fact and recorded documents to say that this actual site, which sits just beside the River Avon, as you can see, this is River Avon, beautiful river, so clear and contrast, is one of the earliest settlements in Salisbury. So in the fact, this is where the early settlements would have been. And if you just look, obviously the cathedral is not too far from here, which is along the river. You can see that this river runs up to Stratford-upon-Avon and straight back to London. So basically, I'm going to follow the river. Let's see where it leads to. I'm just blagging this at the moment because I've not been here before. This is my first trip. So what you see is what I see, and what you experience is what I experience. So there may be parts of Salisbury that you are gonna go, no, Matt, traveling Matt, you should have went there. I ain't got a clue. So I may come back again. So, finish round. This is where it was going through. The river's really high. Definitely really calm here. The other side is just so fresh here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go pass through that way and make our way through the town and see what we come up with. I'm really excited about this. I wanted to come to Salisbury ages ago. We're not far from Stonehenge, also not far from Exeter, and also there's somewhere else. I can't remember. It's got better anyway. So it's quite centralised. We're in Wiltshire. It's part of Wiltshire. This is the tunnel, the area of Wiltshire. So let's bring you guys around. Check this out. Medieval cathedral. That's called St. Thomas's. Oh, St. Thomas Becket of Salisbury. Interesting. So Thomas Becket was actually born in London, in Cheapside. He became the Chancellor for the country under King Henry II. So Thomas Becket opposed a lot of the things which obviously Henry was doing. And as Chancellor, he stepped down and became Bishop of Canterbury. It was in Canterbury is where he rebelled, and soldiers under supposedly orders of Henry II went to the cathedral in Canterbury and tried to remove him from his post and drag him outside, because obviously you could not, as a knight, you could not kill somebody while they were actually in the church. It was a mortal sin, especially it being a bishop. However, for some reason the knights couldn't get him out, probably the will of God, but they killed him in the church. This sent shockwaves through Christendom, shockwaves. And it was the Pope who actually turned around and made him a saint due to certain miracles which took place in the cathedral. And it was King Henry II, in order to try and get forgiveness, walked barefoot through Canterbury in order to get repentance for so-called sins he did, i.e. giving the order to kill Becket. There's debate whether he did or he didn't. I'm going to do a video on this anyway. I want to go to Canterbury, and I'm going to tie it in with another trip to Salisbury and talk about Becket and Henry. I think it's a fascinating story. Look how old it is. Here layeth the body of Stephen Hassick, who departed this life January the 21st, 1688. Then got more recent, 1971, 1877. Yes. There's a wooden bow. Some form. Must think glass window. when I alter out to where we came in. And there's organ just as well. And two on the floor. Let's look at these old doors. That's the outside. Red door. This is the inside. And the radiators as well. I mean, it's really cool that they've got that big glass covering here because it preserves the door inside as well. And the church. So guys, I'm going to take you down to the main part, old historic Salisbury. I'm going to fling this around in a minute. I want to show you this. Well, it's buses in the way, but I'll show you in a minute. We're going to walk down. And remember, this is real time as well. I've not been there before. I've not planned it. I've just gone with the flow. So what you see, I see. Sorry about the wind as well. It's about to be quite windy. This is New Canal. I don't say street, it says canal, which is interesting. This is the High Street. And here, erected, it's all required to replace the old canals. Interesting. Here you can see some old Tudor buildings as well. Let's come from that direction. And another Tudor building here. This will not very much, probably Edwardian, a bit later. A sign from the 1620s. And there's more Tudor. Look how it's sloping. Goes to show how old it is. Now this again, probably about 1066, 1620s. Remember that sign said the 1620s. And here's an old bridge, right? It's an entrance into the. Looks like it's an entrance into Salisbury because there's a coat of arms. Let's have a look, see what it says. Oh, look at that! There's a bull. Again, some selfies. This past through the gate like many. Oh, look at the old cars. The other old car. I'll talk about Villian. Here's an old college. And there's the gate we just came through. And it's just up here to the cathedral. There's loads of people down here. Again, as I want to express that this is the first time I've been here, first time I've filmed it and I've not planned anything. So I just like just to go with the flow, see what comes up. I'm hoping to go to another location today. So I'm doing the main small signs of Salisbury. And you would have remembered recently with the murder of a Russian spy on English soil by the Russians. But look at this, people. Check this out. So you might remember my video which I did about Runnymede and the sign of the Magna Carta. They were on the way, King John was on the way here to sign the Magna Carta. Well, he left there to go to sign the Magna Carta, if I'm right, I'll double check that. But it says there, 1215, the Magna Carta was signed. And this cathedral had a big part in it. But I want to just show you, obviously I'm going to go to the cathedral, also show you the grounds. There's some installations here, art, a bit of art there. Don't know what it represents, looks like a fire to be fair. There is a cathedral. It is so big. So there's the front of the cathedral. I'm going to go and bring it wide, but I just want to give you the details on it. Jess, can you give us a breakdown about the cathedral when it was built? Yeah, just an update on it. Thanks, Jess.
Hey travelling Matt, you finally made it to Salisbury. Well, the cathedral is the mother church of the Diocese of Salisbury and is the seat of the Bishop of Salisbury. The building is regarded as one of the leading examples of early English Gothic architecture. Its main body was completed in 38 years from 1220 to 1258. The spire was built in 1320. The length 442 feet, the nave length 234 feet. The nave width 78 feet, also the choir height 84 feet. There is only one tower, and the height 225 feet without the spire.
So thank you, Jess, for that. You've done your research, and yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really glad that I've come to Salisbury. So let me speak about some of the famous people that are actually buried at the cathedral. One of them is a bishop called Bishop Osmond. He was one of the earliest bishops. He was made a saint by the Pope. Sikh people will visit the Bishop of Osmond's tomb, which is highly decorated, and there's a massive shrine apparently. Again, I couldn't get in to see the actual cathedral because there was a service on for Easter. So let me speak about some of the famous people buried at the cathedral. One of them is called Bishop Osmond. Now in 1457, he was one of the earliest bishops at the cathedral. Now the Pope made him a saint, so therefore you had pilgrims making their way to visit his tomb. So one of the other people is Lady Catherine Grey. Now you remember the last name Grey? Yes, she was the sister of Lady Jane Grey, the 9-day Queen of England. So the other thing I want to just mention about the cathedral is that the Magna Carta, which is the declaration of the law of the UK or of England, came from Salisbury Cathedral, passed through it when it was on its way down to Runnymede in Windsor to be signed by King John in 1215. So apparently also there's been a copy sent back to Salisbury, which now sits in the British Museum. So just waiting to see if we can do some filming, but they've got Easter services, so I'm not letting anybody in unless you know, you come for the service. So doesn't matter. The outside is just majestic, so I'm going to walk up and then get a big view of the cathedral from behind me. As you can see, is the entrance from the main part. I came in from over that way, which we're going to return to now. This is before I always went to come here, so yes, another tick off my bucket list. Now, when I'm looking at a stately home, yeah, and if I was going to buy a stately home, now this would represent exactly what I would go and buy. I'm sure my other half would be more than happy to live there. Look, now isn't that beautiful? Reminds me of Batman, where Bruce Wayne would have lived. But yeah, so I don't know what it is. Oh, it's got iron doors over there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is, but it is a beautiful. I love that building. It's just got such a presence about it, and it's just literally opposite, which is truly amazing. So, this is me being a silly idiot. I'm going to go to the market town now, and I'm going to show you the town centre of Salisbury. And you know, I always used to get confused between, actually saying it, not confused, between the church, cathedral, and a monastery. But that's the cathedral, a bloody big one as well. So do you remember I was telling you about the house reminding me of Batman's place? Well, this is it here, and it's got a bit of history. Obviously, it's massive and it's old, but it's got. You can go in. I think it's called Arundel's. But I want to show you something in a minute to do with a politician who was born here and raised here. So that's the house, and that's where I stood. That's the cathedral. So let's walk you down a bit. Take note of here, Arundel's. So, one of our Prime Ministers, the Right Honourable Sir Edward Heath, was born, or lived here, 1916 to 2005. Prime Minister from 1974. So he was brought up here, and this is the house he was brought up in. And if there's a cathedral, there you go. Arundel's is called the Prime Minister's home. Then it's open to the public. So, if I just spin it, I'm going to show you guys. You got a house here with a horse's entrance for carriages. You got the different types of residential homes onto the screen, which must look beautiful at night time. Then you've got the cathedral there, more residential homes. And just here with the brown building behind me, there, just in front of you, is now, that is a college. So that's the house which I mentioned has the horse and carriage inn. Well, and just passing back through the old gate, but I want to show this door. Look how small it is. I was thinking about small doors, me. So now, this is what I would class as a medieval market town. Who would have bunting up? This probably getting ready for King Charles's coronation as well. Okay. even have a Poundland here as well. Look, interesting. And over here, which we're going to go into, is Thomas Church. So we'll just see what this is about. St. Thomas's as well. Another St. Thomas's. So it's less grand, but still old. Good feeling. It's shy as well. Lots of tombs. Nice food here as well. Or you would have got preference. Then glass windows as well. These entrances I came through. You can see where it's tilted and tipped. So I couldn't resist. I was out today and I saw this from my other half. He likes cats, so I thought, you know what? Let me purchase it for him, see what he thinks. So I'm going to show you this, and then I'll head back to the car if it's still there. No, good. No, not super. There is, again, another Tudor building. Obviously, it's very oldie. It feels it's been really modernised, but the charm's still there. That's Portero. And I'm parked just down outside. Look at that old. That's called the Old English Chop House. Let's get a bit of angle. I'm gonna wander down that side as well. We've got Debenhams over to the left. We have the Ox Row Inn. Looks like a nice pub to get another. Well, it's pretty big actually, because it literally goes from this side right across to 1, 2, 3 shops. Then you've got a Market Inn. So we've got over here, we've got Red Lion, which is a 13th century inn. You can see the entrance where you would have seen horse and carts getting to. Oh, Gibbs Ale, a brewery. We're going to a few stories, isn't it, really? Oh look, Greenfields Gunsmiths. Interesting. Could you actually put them two together? Can you imagine it? A gunsmith here and a brewery. Interesting. I don't know if planning in Salisbury was quite up to scratch, but anyway, there you go. But I can tell a few stories there. So I came across this opening here, and it looks kind of cool. So there's a remembrance in the middle. Let's have a look. So this is to citizens of Salisbury fought in the war in the Second World War. And up there, I don't know what that is actually. Oh, it's got the, I think that's a Ukrainian flag. Looks like a town hall. You know what this actually looks like? There will be a market here on a certain day because it's so open. So this is that back end of where I was talking about. And you've got Naked Bagel over there. You've got a cathedral just popping its just at the top there as well. And you've got Gibbs Remember the brewery? Looks like that's where they used to deliver to. What's that, 1742? Interesting. The Royal locks in. The Duchess's Oak Brewery. So that's the end of my walk through Salisbury, and I'm really interested. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Kind of glad none of the shops were open, because I think it would have been a bit of a nightmare for me filming and talking. Well, I'm going to do voiceovers anyway, but it was really cool. So I'll see you in my next walk, where we could be building home together. Blessings. I'm just arriving back in my car.